I'm a dreamer, and today I want to talk to you about the importance of dreams and what science has learned about dreams. Throughout the decades of my life, I can't tell you how many times God has used dreams as a way to give me guidance and instruction, to warn me, to help me understand things. Dreams are incredibly important. I remember one dream that it was so important to my life is that in my dream, a man was talking to me, and as a big map of Europe was opened up. And he was pointing his finger up there on different parts of Germany. And he said, God wants to make you director of marketing for him. And I looked down in my dream and I was worried about what kind of shoes I had on. And did I have the proper shoes? I won't talk to you about the symbols of dreams, but dreams are vitally important and they're a gift from God. You know, where do dreams come from? Have you ever thought about that? Where do dreams come from? Who created you with the capacity to dream? It's interesting to just think about that. And I want to talk to you today about the science of dreaming, what science has learned about the value of dreaming. And so, but I've written over the years, because dreams are so important to me, I've written a couple books on dreams. One of them is called Dream Treasure, Learning the Language of Heaven. You can get it on Amazon. And then this is more like a textbook. Some of the things I'm sharing with you today came out of this book. The second book that I did was more practical. It's 33 ways to unlock the mystery of your dreams. It's 33 different chapters, small chapters, that give you a strategy or a technique or a tool on how to unlock the mystery of your dreams. God says in the Old Testament Numbers that he uses dreams with a language called dark sayings. It's like a puzzle. So most of our dreams are in a picture language. They're in a puzzle we don't understand. But I want to talk specifically today about what science has learned about dreaming. Do you know that that you dream about 1 to 2 hours every night? That's 1 to 2 hours. Do you know that? And that's if you add up the years you are alive already, if you do the math, when you come to 60 years old, you will have dreamt 5 years. By the time you're 60 years old, you will have dreamed 5 years. 5 years of your life have been spent in dreaming. So can you not understand, just on that scientific fact alone, how important dreams must be to us? And yet we've been taught in the Western world that dreams are nothing but pizza dreams, or there's nothing to them, there's nothing real to them, because they don't know how to unlock the language of the dream, or because they don't really want to hear from God. They don't want to know what God is saying to you. So today I want to talk to you and give you some instruction or understanding, basically, of what science has found about dreams. Back in the 1950s, some dream researchers began to work a lot with dreams, and they used electroencephalogram, a high-tech thing, like you do a heart test. And the people went to sleep and they recorded the brain activity, the waves in their brain. Well, they slept all night in sleep labs. And while they're sleeping, and they would watch the brain waves, and we call that REM sleep. What is the brain doing in REM sleep? REM sleep means rapid eye movement. They could see the brain waves going up and down. And they found that in the early part of the night, the brain waves are slower and more peaceful. And that the dreams that they have at that time were more quiet and peaceful dreams. But later in the night, towards morning more, the brain waves began to get more accelerated and began to get more heightened. And what they found was that dreams at that stage were much more important perhaps to us, and they might even be kind of a nightmare type of dream. In that stage of rapid eye movement, or this stage of dreaming, I've met people who actually had a dream and they would kick something and fall out of bed on the floor. Maybe you know somebody like that. And then I've met somebody else who kicked a window. The window was right beside the bed, and they hit the window and broke it, because in the dream it was so dramatic and so powerfully strong. Some dreams can be so powerful they can shake you to the core of your being. But science has discovered that we dream 1 to 2 hours every night. But we found out that our brain never shuts off. And our brain doesn't just go to sleep. It's always working all night long. I have a good friend who worked in HR, human resources, and he said, he'd go to bed with a problem, and he didn't know what to do about it. When he'd wake up out of his dream, he knew the answer. The brain doesn't stop working. Sometimes it's very good to ask God a question before you go to bed, something you're struggling with. Say, God, would you give me a dream that helps me with that question? And so the research has found that our dreaming is important to your mental health, your physical health. If they woke you up every time you have a dream for 3 or 4 days, after the third or fourth day, the person starts to feel like they're having a nervous breakdown. Just being woken up, interrupt the sleep, interrupt the dream patterns. In 3 or 4 days, the person begins to feel like they're having a nervous breakdown. That's how important your dreams are to you. They're incredibly. God, our Creator, created us with a capacity to dream. One of the ways that dreams help us is Dr. Alfred Adler. He was an Austrian psychiatrist early in the 1900s. He discovered that dreams have a wonderful way of helping us solve our problems, to give us a new way to look at our problems. Problem-solving dreams. I had a dream one night that solved a problem for me. I had a good friend that was saying things about me that wasn't true. And I was asking God, how do I handle that problem? What do I do with that? And I dreamt that night that I was sitting in a church meeting, and they were taking an offering. The offering basket was coming down the road. And a voice says to me, I just hear a voice. It says, give me something from your purse. So I look inside of my purse and I find 2 things. And I take them out and I put them in the offering basket. In other words, God was asking me to surrender them, to give them to Him, to let go of them. The 2 items were a magnifying glass. What do we do with a magnifying glass? What do you do with it? You make things bigger with it. You focus on it. And He asked me to give it away, to stop focusing on that problem. Second thing that was in my purse was a needle and a thread. What do we do with a needle and thread? We try to fix something. We try to mend something. I wanted to fix that relationship. But the Holy Spirit, through the dream, said, no, don't try to fix it. So dreams come to help us solve our problems. They try to make sense of some of the experiences you've been having. And another theorist said that dreams help us with our relationships. Well, my dream certainly helped me with that relationship. Dreams have many functions for us. And I want to give you 5 important functions that a dream has for you. This is written by Dr. David Benner. He's an internationally known depth psychologist. David Benner, Dr. David Benner. And in his book that I read, he identified at least 5 important psychological functions of your dream. Number 1, dreams express your inner experience. They express what's going down inside of you. You know, we understand that you have a hidden part within you. We call it the unconscious today. It's a part of you that your conscious mind can't go to. Your thinker up here can't go in there. You can't find your way to it. It has to come up to you. The dream is one way to bring it up to you. What's going down in your heart? This dream King Nebuchadnezzar had in the Old Testament. Had a dream that frightened him. And he called this man named Daniel, who knew how to interpret dreams. And Daniel asked God to give him the understanding of the dream. And this is what it says in the book of Daniel, chapter 2. It said that the dream came to help him understand his innermost thoughts. We have a depth in us. This is why he's called a depth psychologist. Most of our psychology deals with our behavior, our outer natural thinking and feeling. But we have another part of us, and that part of us is there to help us. It speaks the truth to us. When our mind is denying something, doesn't want to see something, the unconscious, this hidden part, or what you want to call it, your heart, some part in you that your brain can't go to, has truth for you, wants you to know the truth about something. So paying attention to your dreams is one way to paying attention to what's going down inside of your heart. Pause and think about that a moment. Dreams express your inner experience, what's going down inside of your heart. It's pretty important, because if we get off center, and we're following only the thoughts of our brain in our frontal lobes, or we're only following that, we're not getting the truth about what's going on inside of us. So we have a divided part within it. We're divided. Our mind is divided against my heart. The second way dreams help us in our psychological part, they help heal our wounds. The deep wounds that are inside of you. The dream identifies where this wound is at. These unconscious conflicts, unresolved conflicts that you've never resolved, or the traumas you've experienced. So there's an effort deep inside of you, in this part of your being, helping to bring to the light something that's hidden from you, something maybe you don't want to see or understand. The dream will bring you things when it's time for you to look at it, for you to resolve your old conflicts, to make peace with things that happened in the past. That's one of the purposes of dreams. The third one is that dreams represent an effort to help you bring recent things you just have happened this last week or the week before, so you can weave them into the fabric of how you see the world. We call that meaning and purpose. Every one of us, needs a meaning and purpose in our life. We need to know why I'm here on earth. What am I here for? If we don't have that, we're pretty much lost in life. But sometimes new things happen. The shocks and traumas happen. Like when my husband backed the car into my leg and I had 9 surgeries. You have to weave that experience into how you see the world and your place in it. How do I see God now that this happened to me? So sometimes we have traumas, we have other events or your husband tells you he wants a divorce, and so everything has changed in you. So the dream comes along to help us weave that into the fabric of how you see the world, the lens that you look out at. How do you see the world around you? The dream is there to help you do that, to help you make sense of what just happened last week. The next function of the dream is to help you not to get off balance, to help to balance your whole inner psyche, your inner being, to, I don't know how to say it, but to compensate for imbalances, things you've ignored, things you don't want to know. The dream points to parts of yourself you've lost that you don't want to understand. Because of Adam's fall in the garden, we'd come to consciousness without not all of the parts of ourselves. Remember the story of the butterfly, how it comes from a cocoon? That little wormy thing crawling along the ground has to go into a cocoon, and then it comes out and it becomes a butterfly. The butterfly has 4 wings to fly on, 4 different wings. This wholeness, all the parts of itself that were embedded in that little worm, in that caterpillar we call it in English, all those parts of ourself that we couldn't see, that we didn't own, came up to us and begins to help us get our balance and help us to move forward in life and flow with life more. The hidden parts. And because of Adam's fall, they're hidden from us. Because we can't bring everything to consciousness that we're born with. There's parts of ourself that we don't recognize we have. That's how the dream is so helpful to us. I remember one dream I had where a woman was talking to a group of people, and I'm sitting in this group, and she looks at me and she says, "Skilled talent." She looks at me and points me out. I didn't know her. Skilled talent. And in other words, that gave me confidence and faith that there's a part of me that I could use that I didn't know I had. This woman represented a part of me. She was facilitating a group. I like group dynamics. I like that in my Zoom groups because there's power in a group when we come together and share our lives together. But that came to me in a dream, friends. It revealed a part of me that I had lost, did not know I had. It's like the butterfly. I began to find more parts of myself so I could be a more whole person. The last thing that Benner writes about is dreams give us glimpses of future possibilities and future potentialities. Dreams give us glimpses of future possibilities. They point us towards wholeness. They prepare us for the future. They help you fulfill the purpose of God in your life. I think I've told you already, some years ago, about 5 years ago, I had a dream where we were driving down our car on a country road, and we stopped suddenly in front of a farmhouse. We go into the farmhouse, we walk in the door, and we see an elderly woman holding a baby. She's rocking her little baby. And an elderly man comes in from the barn next door, and he's looked at me, he said, "Do you know what we're doing here?" No. And he said, "Well, we're breaking new ground. We're breaking new ground. They're elderly, they have a baby, we're breaking new ground." And then he said, we're producing audio-video recordings, something like PJ TV did, Pajama. You do it right at your home in an informal way. That's what I'm doing, friends. That dream gave me direction and possibility, but 4 or 5 years later, before it began to really sink in, what God wanted me to do, what was possible for me to do at this age of my life. And in order to, we had another dream just about 3 years ago, I did, where a new baby was born in the dream. And when a baby is born, it means there's new potential, there's a new development, there's something transforming. It was my husband that was pregnant. He had the baby. And I said, oh my God, I have a baby to raise at 80 years old. And the Lord made it aware to me that there was a podcast, audio video recordings, where I'd help you understand some of the things that I learned in these long years of living. That's why I'm talking to you about dreams today. Dreams has been one of the most important parts of my life. Dreams are one way that God speaks to us. I met a man named Dr. Terrence McGillicuddy in Massachusetts. He has a book out on dreams also. He's a Christian therapist who worked for 22 years as a hospice chaplain. And when I talked with him, and also in his book, he says something like this. He discovered that working with dreams of people, we call it dream work, when we actually take time to work with the dream and look at it and use some different strategies to unlock the mystery and the symbolic pictures in it. He said when he found that when people did dream work, or he helped them do it, it was able to move people from a place of darkness and fear, to able to move that person out of darkness, out of fear, into a new place of light and hope. These are people in hospice. They're preparing to die. And he discovered if he worked with the dreams with these patients, the dream helped them move into a place of light and hope. He also said that dreams help them make peace with some of the things in their life. It helps them find inner healing for some of their problems, to work through things that were distressing in their life. But also, most importantly, he wrote, that the dreams connect the person with God, and they experience the presence of God. That's what dreams can do for you. And they experience his love and his reassurance. And they know they're connected to something which is eternal. Some years ago, my husband had a dream with Pope John Paul II, and he meets him out on the pathway. And when he meets Pope John Paul II, the Pope reaches out to give Jerry a hug. And after a few moments, he gave him a bigger hug, a stronger hug. He didn't want to let go of Jerry. He just kept holding him tight in a warm-hearted place. The next morning, my husband told me the dream, and I said to him, do you think this could be something from Jesus Christ? Do you think? And all of a sudden, my husband's eyes filled up with tears. And he knew symbolically what that dream represented. He had experienced the love of Jesus Christ. The Pope was a symbol for Jesus himself. God said that Jesus loves us, and he is love, and he came to love you and I. So the dream is a gift from God. The dream will give you help and wise counsel and wisdom while you're asleep. Good news, huh? That's the power of the gospel. There's much more to the gospel than you realize. St. Peter said at the day of Pentecost, when people were having these experiences, they were praying in another language, things were happening, and he reminds them that this has been promised to them in the Old Testament. In the book of Joel, the prophet had said there'll be, when the God pours out his Spirit, there'll be dreams and visions and prophecies. Solomon said in Proverbs chapter 1 that God said to him that I will pour out my Spirit, and when I do, I'll make my words known to them. And when I do, I'll make my words known. Do you want to hear the words from God? Do you need wisdom and help with your life? Do you need another resource that helps you find your pathway in life? To heal your wounds, to heal your broken heart, to give you direction and guidance, show your gifts and talents, help you see really who Jesus is. I had many lightning dreams through the years, and when I had a lightning dream, I knew that it was new insight, revelation God was giving me. And I'm going to give you now 5 types of dream themes. I don't know if I finished telling you my story. I think I did. I don't know if I lost something or not. But, yeah. Dreams are fascinating. They offer you so much, friends. They're so powerful. They carry energy. It's not like you go through a stop sign and you see red lights, green lights, and yellow lights. But there's something more powerful. They're a symbol. They're not a sign. They contain energy. They contain power. They can transform your life. I think I'll share with you next that I would like to share with you is 7 different types of dream categories. 7 dream categories. One of them people are most interested in is called ESP dreams. Extrasensory perception. I was on radio in Europe this morning, and I was talking about this on radio. And people are interested in prophetic dreams. In ancient Roman civilization, they were very interested in prophetic dreams. And I remember in the New Testament, I think it was, oh, who's the woman? Somebody dreamed of her. Don't do this to Jesus. I forgot who it was. Pilate's wife, I think it was. They come to warn us. And to deal with the birth of Jesus, Joseph had several dreams where an angel said to him, "Don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife." They were instruction dreams. But everybody wants to know what the future is going to bring to us. They're called ESP, or extrasensory perception dreams. There's a number of categories. The people who are most interested in is the prophetic dreams. They want to know about what's going to happen in the future. They want to know. They want that. You think back in the Bible, Joseph's dream. The boy Joseph had dreamed of the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down to him. That was showing him his future. Dr. Carl Jung, before World War II, had a dream. He dreamed of the map of Europe, and all the countries in Europe, except Switzerland, were dipped in blood. On this map, he dreamed of holding a map, and all the countries in Europe were dipped in blood except Switzerland. This was before World War II. This was a prophetic dream. It was showing him about what was going to happen in Europe. I've met a number of people who have told me dreams that helped prepare them before World War II. So the dream is a powerful warning tool. I had a dream where the dream was my brother called me and said, "Mom is going to die." 6 months later, I got that exact phone call. The only way we know if it's a prophetic dream is if it really happens, if it comes to pass. I had a dream where I was in Rome, walking around in the streets of Rome. 6 months later, I was in Rome. By accident, I was on my way to Israel. Because of a strike in Athens, the plane stopped in Rome. For the next 3 days, I walked around Rome, and then suddenly the Lord brought that dream back to me. So the dream gave me comfort that He knew where I was at right then, that He was in charge of this thing. They didn't have to panic that I missed my flight out of Athens into Tel Aviv. I didn't have to worry. So God, the Holy Spirit, brought the dream back to my remembrance. I thank God for those kind of dreams. But there's another kind of dream called clear dreams. Clear dreams are the kind of dream where they are what they are. You don't need to interpret them. There's no symbols in them. But it requires that you have spiritual perception to know if this voice you heard in the night is from God. Another type of dream is what we call transformational dreams. These are dreams that carry a powerful amount of energy. A powerful amount of energy. They can change the way you see yourself, change your core identity. They can help you get revelation that you never would have gotten any other way from the Bible. They change how you see everything. They're called transformational dreams. They're great symbols. The symbols have great power in them. One of my great dreams was I dreamt of a woman laying flat on a table, being cut open from head to down. And as it was cut open, a beautiful, beautiful woman stepped out of me. The most beautiful, vibrant woman I'd ever hoped to be. It didn't look like me, but it was me. God was showing me a picture of what He had done as He healed my broken heart in the last 7 years. And He transformed me as He changed the wounded places and healed them. As He brought me forward into wholeness. I had this powerful transformational dream. And so I took that picture of that beautiful woman, and I spent time with it, looking at it and feeling it, so I could connect with the energy, because the dream is loaded with energy for us. That's what changes us. It's that divine energy. When you look at the symbol and let the depth of that symbol touch your heart, it can give you energy. We must take these things not into our head, but into our heart. They're called transformational dreams. There's so many types of them. But just to give you a category, another category is historic event dreams. These kind of dreams want to take you back into your life history. It's time for you to face something you didn't want to see. It's time for you to understand what you learned as a child. It's time for you to look at the traumas, look at the attitudes that you developed, look at what you did with mother and father. Look at those things. It's time to face the past. We don't like doing that. We're afraid of the pain we might feel. In fact, we just want to move forward into life. But it seems like there's a time in our life we have to make peace with the past. We have to understand how our attitudes were formed. We have to understand how the lies we believed entered into us, what those lies are. We have to get those lies broken. The only way to do it is to let the light of God come in there and touch them. the light of God's truth come in and illuminate them. They're called historic event dreams. The dream that woke me up to this was I was in the backyard of the house where I was 8 years old in that house. I'm in the yard and I'm in the house, and this giant tree is following me. It has no branches, and the roots were, it was just walking behind me, following me. I was frightened. I was so frightened. And I ran through the house and I ran out the street and down the street. As I ran, this tree followed me. And suddenly, in the moment in the dream, I became a little inchworm, a tiny little worm crawling along the sidewalk. As I woke up, I thought about that dream. What is it, God, you're trying to show me? As I worked with the symbol of the tree, I understood it was my family tree. That's what was following me, stalking me. We can't break free from these things until we face it and look at it and allow God to teach us about my relationship with my mother and my father, about all these things that happened, my grandmother. Till we make peace with our past, we must face it. It's called a historic event dream. Then there's the current events dream. This is dealing with what's going on right now. The dream I told you about, give me something from your purse, that's a current events dream. That's the trouble I was in at that moment. These dreams are helping to help you solve your problems in the moment, help you work through issues, helping you see what happened yesterday in a clearer way. They're dreams that help you at the moment. Remember, Jacob in the Old Testament had a problem with his uncle Laban, and God gave him a dream and told him what to do with his sheep, the flock, and keep a relationship with his uncle Laban. And Laban himself had a dream from God to warn him to be careful how he spoke to Jacob. These are current event dreams. Another dream is the routine maintenance dreams. They're just dreams that just occur when you're not aware of them. They're not so important to you. We don't have to do anything with them, really, basically. But another big one, and the last one I'll mention, is the divine encounter dreams. Divine encounter dreams. They're not like ordinary dreams. And you have only a few of these, like maybe one or two in your whole life. They're pretty powerful because something from God and you meet together in the dream. Remember King Solomon? Do you remember that? In his dream, God came to him right in the dream, and they talked together. And God, the Creator, asked Solomon what he wanted from him. And Solomon told God what he wanted. They had a conversation right in the dream. Yeah. Mother Teresa had a dream where she was in heaven, at the heaven's gate, and she wanted to know why there were no poor people in heaven. I think she asked St. Peter. And then she said, I'm going to go fill heaven with those people. That gave her the passion for her call in life, for her ministry in her life, the work God had for her. Gave her the passion to move into the future. They're called divine encounter dreams. And then, of course, nightmares, and I won't go there right now, but nightmares are a sign that there's something that you need to wake up to and heal. That if you have them over and over again, particularly these tormenting dreams, there's like post-traumatic stress disorder, veterans from the wars, they have a lot of trauma dreams that are nightmare type quality. It means that there's something that God wants to heal. Think of those dreams like a gift to you. They're coming to help you resolve those problems so you don't carry that negative energy all the rest of your life. And in closing, I'm going to give you the top 10 themes that you often see in dreams. Top 10 dream symbols. Number 1 is journeys. Pay attention to a dream that has a journey. Mountain climbing. I had many dreams where I was climbing a mountain. Or a city is under a siege. A war is going on. Where a warfare is going on. Or a pilgrimage. They're journey dreams. They're important in your life. Number 2 is houses. Houses is the second most important theme, a symbol that we see in dreams. Houses of all kinds. Houses you lived in, houses you never lived in. Houses of people you don't know. The house is a powerful symbol. The next one is water. Next one is falling. Falling is an interesting symbol because it can also be showing you that you're losing confidence in yourself, that there's too much tension in you, that you're losing face with something. It's a falling dream. Then there's flying dreams. And then there's chasing dreams. We're being chased. Or you're being, something like that. It's a chasing dream. And then another one I had a lot of was loose teeth. Teeth were loose. Teeth were falling out. Can you imagine that's a number 7 top dream symbol? teeth dreams, tooth dreams. Often it meant to me that I was losing an attitude that I need to let go of. Maybe your baby teeth, they're falling out. You're going to get new attitudes. See things differently. The next, number 8 is snakes. Those are big ones, snakes. Number 9 is royalty, or kings and queens and princesses. Even brides can show up here. And then number 10 is death, dreams about death. These are the top 10 dream symbols, and they're important to understand. But I hope that you'll work with your dreams and pay attention to them. Start a dream journal. Begin to write them down. Thank you today. See you later.